Hello everyone, my name is Veritas and welcome back to Destiny. Now today, I wanted to talk to you guys about hand cannons, and this current week in Heroic Strikes has small arms. But first, let's talk about the Nightfall. So, Kat and I did the Nightfall earlier this week, and from Tanix, I think I got like a shitty auto rifle or something, and he got an emote pack and a Hawk Moon. And when we saw that Hawk Moon drop, it was kind of like, meh, Hawk Moon, whatever. But I kind of got upset with him over not being excited about Hawk Moon, because in year one, we loved hand cannons. We absolutely loved hand cannons. And we wanted to use all of the hand cannons all of the time. Give me 6 hand cannons, I'll find ways to shoot them. Kind of thing. We both really wanted the last word. We thought it was going to be like the best hand cannon because it was a hand cannon. It was exotic. It had to be the best. And it wasn't Thorn, and Thorn was just useless in PvE. So for PvE, we wanted a nice hand cannon, and we both had Devil You Knows from the Vanguard Quartermaster and things like that, and that was the best hand cannon you could find aside from Fatebringer, but we didn't have Fatebringer back then. Back in my day, we didn't have Fatebringer. So in our search for good hand cannons, we wanted good things, and we wanted the Hawk Moon, but the Hawk Moon was PlayStation exclusive. So when that Hawk Moon dropped, a rush of nostalgia came through me, and I was like, he was like, whatever, Hawk Moon. And I was like, don't you, whatever, Hawk Moon. I was like, if this had been last year, you would have lost your shit over getting a Hawk Moon to drop. He's like, yeah, but it's not last year. Hand cannons suck. Rip hand cannons and how bad they got nerfed and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you on that. So we were talking about that kind of stuff, and how it's unfortunate that hand cannons kind of have lost their oomph from year one through constant complaining in the Crucible, getting them tweaked, and then eventually nerfed into the ground in PvE. And really never coming back from that ever. Like, they never really came back, and they still haven't. They're still pretty fucking terrible compared to how fun they were in like strikes and raids and stuff in year one. They're pretty fucking awful now. But so when that hand cannon dropped, I said, you know what? Let's go play with hand cannons, because this week in the Heroic Strikes playlist is small arms, which means that hand cannons will be nice and strong. And they'll be just like they were in year one. Not entirely. They still have shitty stability. They still got pretty high range nerfs. They still got nice just tweaks to them. Initial stability and stuff like that. They're still fucked, and they're still not as good as they used to be. But they're fun. And with small arms, they're even more fun. So I suggested we go play Heroic Strikes and use hand cannons. So he grabbed his Hawk Moon and I grabbed my first curse. We're trying to get him a first curse, but, because it's the gun that we wanted Last Word to be. Idealistically, it's the gun we wanted Last Word to be. Because Last Word ended up becoming a hand cannon that was just like, whatever, it's not. It isn't a PvE weapon, that's for darn sure. So I'm trying to get him a first curse, and while we were doing that, we're like, let's get hand cannon kills with you. For you, and the Heroic Strikes hit small arms, and hand cannons will be fun. And I have to say, after a couple Heroic Strikes of just stomping through enemies with hand cannons, and I switched to the Hawk Moon, then I eventually switched to this fucking amazing IS Luna that I have right here in my hands. I'll show you the perks on this puppy in a second here. But I switched to this IS Luna, and I've been having a fucking grand old time with this thing. And I have to say, after like 3 or 4 strikes with him playing with hand cannons, it was like, dude, this is like year one all over again. It was so much fun to finally use hand cannons and have them be useful again. It was the most fun I'd had in Destiny since like the Taken King came out. It honestly might have been more fun than when Taken King came out, just because it was nostalgic as fuck. It reminded me and it reminded him of the glory days of Destiny, and it reminded us of like when the game was fun for us, when we had fun playing it. And that was back when hand cannons were fun to use, and we use them a lot in PvE and, with strikes and raids and things like that, and, patrol missions and stuff. And that's when we used hand cannons. We loved hand cannons. But eventually, they just eventually got nerfed into the ground so much that they just aren't useful anymore. And that's entirely to blame on the Crucible community. But I'm not getting into that right now. But, when we were playing through those heroic strikes and, just double teaming everything as we, held hands and skipped gaily through all the strikes with our hand cannons held high and just headshotting and bouncing around and killing everything, it was honestly the most fun I've had in Destiny. And I honestly want to say since sometime in year one. Like, it was nostalgic as fuck. It was so much fun, and we were having so much fun doing it, and it just kind of broke our hearts a little bit, because it was like, man, remember back when Destiny was this fun? Remember back when it was this fun to play Destiny? And it was like, yeah, but it isn't anymore, and it sucks. And it just kind of like, it made us sad that it wasn't fun anymore. Yeah, 30,000 crit. But, it was unfortunate that was the case. And I don't know, man. There was something about just the amount of fun that we were having that night, using hand cannons at what felt like should be their power. It was kind of magical. And it just kind of, it really did break my heart when I realized that, I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon. It'll probably go out Monday afternoon, but it kind of broke my heart when I realized that, next week this is probably not going to be here. Next week Small Arms is probably not going to be the modifier, and if it is, holy shit, yay. But I'm assuming it isn't going to be, and it really isn't usually anyway. Small Arms is a pretty rare modifier these days. So, I was really excited when it was. I was like, cool, we can use Mida and stuff, and that's what we usually use, but I hadn't even considered using hand cannons. They're basically useless nowadays. But with Small Arms, Jesus Christ, they're so fun. And that 30,000 something crit was the highest I've seen yet. My previous highest crit was a 22,831. But I guess Scions have less damage mitigation than Drakes do, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, there's something magical about using hand cannons again, and having them be useful and having them feel good, that was just so nostalgic. And was so nostalgic, and just, man, I miss that shit so much, because they used to be so much fun before all the nerfs and stuff like that. And it's just, we both got really sad about it, because it's just, they're never really gonna be that good again unless Bungie decides to say fuck the Crucible people that are complaining about it, and they fucking buff them, and then whatever. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I really just wish that when Bungie made changes to weaponry, that they would change stuff individually. I made a video on this a while ago that kind of just flew by. No one really watched it or whatever, but it was talking about the biggest flaw in Destiny is their incessant need to have everything be consistent. Like, this idea of a consistent world where a thing behaves one way in PvE, if it behaves this way in a patrol mission, it should behave the exact same way in Control. If it behaves this way in a strike or a raid, it should behave the exact same way in Rift. And that mentality doesn't work at all. You need to tweak things dependent on how they fare in each game mode. If something's too good in Crucible, then nerf it in the Crucible, but leave it the fuck alone in the rest of the game. Because a lot of the minor changes to things in PvP leave horrendous gashes in the surface of PvE, and it's always been a problem. And I hope one day that gets fixed, because hand cannons are fucking awesome with small arms, and I've been having the time of my fucking life with them this week. It's the most fun I've had in Destiny in what feels like forever. And it actually made Cat want to play again. And, it made him want to play Destiny again, just to play with hand cannons. And it was fucking magical, man. It was hand cannons and small arms, and airborne is something special. But I'm going to show you this roll on my IS Luna and then get out of here, because I got other shit to do. So, this is my IS Luna. It's got Sure Shot. This is my favorite sight on a hand cannon. Outlaw. It's got braced frame, rifled barrel, snapshot. I use braced frame. And then reactive reload. So, headshot, reload, mega crit. I like it. It's PvE, though. It's not PvP. I don't think so, but, whatever. So, those are my couple cents on the hand cannon nonsense, and why I like small arms, and why I miss hand cannons. I miss you, hand cannons. I really do. I wish you were as good as you used to be, but one day maybe they'll realize that they need to just fix it in the Crucible and leave the rest of the game alone, maybe, hopefully, but probably not. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about hand cannons, the Crucible ruining the rest of the game. I say that so shittily, but it's the most dramatic way of saying it does happen. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about hand cannons, small arms modifiers. Heroic strikes are fun. What you think about the Crucible causing changes in the rest of the game that aren't needed, and things like that. What are your opinions on the patches to weaponry and things like that? I want to know. I'm interested. But so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, the rating much appreciated. And as always, until the next video. Have a great day, everyone.